Welcome to Overcome Medical Hair Loss Summit. My name is Valerie Fuentes. I'm your host. And today I am with Sharon. She is the owner of Highline wigs. And I just introduced her as Sharon because I know most of you know her. We actually feel pretty close to you and connected just because we see you every day. And I just, what I really loved about you was how personable you are. Your pieces are beautiful. This is actually the first one I've had from Highline, and was my piece that I transitioned from a hair system, a permanent hair system, into something more, removable. I'll say it. But it became kind of like my day-to-day piece. I do because I love it so much. So it's an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for everything you do and for accepting my invitation.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and why did you start this business? Because I don't think a lot of people know about that.
Right. So I started this business about, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago. It was whenever I was starting to look for a piece for myself when I got married as an Orthodox Jewish woman. A lot of us cover our hair when we get married. More of like a modesty kind of thing to that other men shouldn't see our hair, just a form of modesty. Not all Jewish people do it, not even all, Orthodox people do it. It's kind of like everyone does what they want, kind of thing. But I took on that for myself because that's just what I believe in. And so when I was out there looking for wigs for myself, I've been in retail for a long time. Since I was a teenager, I was selling online. So I kind of knew the ins and outs of business and retail. So I kind of already had a head start with, working international with factories, with different kinds of things. Not even specifically with hair. I was working more with clothing and jewelry and women's accessories and stuff like that. So, I was just kind of out there looking for a piece for myself. So that's how I pretty much got started. Whatever didn't work for me or whatever I was kind of just playing, whatever didn't work for me, I would sell it to like a friend locally. I'm in a Jewish community. A lot of my neighbors are, or, cousins, relatives who cover their hair or whatever. And then whatever didn't work for me, I would also kind of like list on eBay. I was a paralegal at the time. I was just finishing college. I was a paralegal at the time. So I was just kind of like, whatever. It was kind of more of like it didn't work for me. Kind of like, listing one of your old shirts on eBay or whatever, one of these websites. So that was kind of it. And then as I was posting more and more of my older, it wasn't even older or worn, it's something that didn't work for me. I kind of like to try different styles and ideas because I said I'm wearing hair, why not? And I had a lot of, besides for the Jewish community, of women asking me, I started selling more of them just because I kind of got pretty much more involved in selling hair, just because I always liked doing hair and makeup and whatever. So I was good at styling, and I would always cut some of my friends' hair, cut my own hair. So yeah, I kind of just got more on eBay, and then I had a lot of customers from like the hair loss world, people who it was not really so much people with like hair loss at the time. It was more people, it was hair loss, but it wasn't really so much more people who were like just thin hair or alopecia, or it was more people who had like full alopecia or, someone going through a treatment, cancer. I think it got a lot more, I think a lot more women know about different solutions to their hair loss, even if they're just at the beginning stages of hair loss, or if they're, more advanced. So I think, ever since, I think it's definitely grown since I've been selling for since I started 7 years ago. Back then it was more people who just who had complete hair loss or, going through chemo or something like that. So it's interesting how it all, it all develops since then. Yeah. That's pretty much how it started. It was it was pretty random, actually. It was just, my mom also has been, she wore wigs, so she also sold to the people in the neighborhood a lot. And it's pretty much, I kind of grew up with hair all over, wigs and hair and whatever. So I kind of, if you're asking me specifically how I got into the hair loss world, is more just because, through those people, asking me like back then, like people who, I wasn't really targeting someone with hair loss. I was more targeting the Jewish population at first, but then I got so many more requests from people with the hair loss world. And I actually enjoy working with those with hair loss because it's a different kind of experience, because it's so much more nicer, you know, someone who doesn't have hair, someone who doesn't have nice hair, someone who doesn't have enough hair to make them feel beautiful, rather than working with someone who, you know, a lot of Jewish people have nice hair, beautiful hair underneath, but they wear it for religious reasons. It's a different experience. I like working with both. I do work with both, but I think my main clientele these days are those, obviously, in the hair loss world, whether it's extreme hair loss, minimal, just at the beginning stages, you know?
Right. And yeah, because experience is life-changing. Like you can even see it in the pictures, right? Like when I see pictures of the before and afters, and I mean, for myself, really, that, you know, like not having hair and then wearing something like this, you're like,
beautiful. You can't even tell on you. It looks gorgeous.
Thank you. And yeah, so it's life-changing. So what is it that we don't see, right? Like, because we see you every day and you're showing us the pieces, like what goes behind the business? Like what, because it sounds like you're a one-woman show, which I think is so badass, really. Like you run everything. So like what is it that we don't see? Like when, like how long does it take, for instance, if I put in an order, like what do you do? What's the process?
Well, I'm not really a one-woman show anymore. I was originally. You know, I started off being a one-woman show, and then obviously it grew so much where it got to the point where I couldn't be the one doing everything. And I like taking charge. So, you know, I like being in control of everything, but at the end of the day, I only have 2 hands and I have 1 brain, and I can only get 24 hours a day, you know? So I used to maybe 3-4 hours a night, and before this pregnancy, I still only sleep maybe like 5 or 6 hours a night, but now I'm like so tired from the pregnancy. I've been going to sleep at like 9 o'clock. I've been like, you know, out cold at 9. I've been so exhausted. But I like being very hands-on. I like giving the more personal, you know, giving everyone personal attention as much as I can. I know at this point it's hard to give everyone personal attention, but I try, you know, my assistants who work with me now try giving personal attention to my customers so they can feel like they're working with someone and not just a company. They're not just robots. They're not just a customer service representative. Like people know Adina, people know Raquel, people know, they don't know my other ones who work behind the scenes because they're not really in customer service. But I think it's important for me to, you know, for my business to have, you know, for people to like get the in-store experience buying online, you know, because it's hard buying hair online. It's not something, it's not like you're buying a shirt and like, you know, it's too small by the bust, or, you know, the skirt's too tight by the waist and you need to go 1 size up. It's not like that. There's so much more that goes into buying hair. It needs to fit right, it needs to look natural, it needs to be your right color, and you know, there's so much that goes into the thickness. So yeah, I used to be a one-woman show and I used to do everything, but it got a little bit too overwhelming. So now I have a decent sized team. We're missing some people because of coronavirus. Some of them are working from home, some of them aren't back yet at all, but hopefully we'll be back to normal soon. And I miss it. I look forward to having everyone back. It's fun. It's a really great experience working with everyone here. I missed the second part of your question. I'm in New York. I actually work from my home. I have an in-house salon downstairs. So I have some people coming here, but most of my clients are international, or, you know, not even within New York. So I have some people who drive in, or people who, you know, are more local, but for the most part, I mostly ship out because most of my clients are everywhere, all over. So yeah, but I'm based in Long Island in New York. So if anybody who watches this is near, they are more than welcome to schedule an appointment after coronavirus.
I totally will. My sister actually lives in New York. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. You have to come visit.
And I didn't know you were there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I saw you did a few like pop-ups here in South Florida. I'm in Miami.
Yeah. Are you in Florida? Or I thought you were going to be
I'm in Miami.
Oh, nice. I wish you would have made it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, I saw the other day that you posted something about the costume pieces that right now that's in backlog or whatnot.
Yeah.
So how has COVID affected you, as far as just so we know what to expect?
Coronavirus just pretty much slowed down production a ton. I would say, you know, my production's done mostly in China. I have repair people here that do any tweaks, add lace fronts, you know, make caps smaller. We have a lot of things that go down here. color jobs, cuts, all the tweaking of the piece done here, but the actual sewing of the entire cap is done in China. So when they got hit, they were obviously hit first by the virus. So when that happened, all the factories shut down. The only factory that that were running were the mask factories. So I actually happened to lose a lot of my sewers to the mask factories, and they still haven't come back. So we're looking for more sewers, but the main issue right now is people to sit around and make these pieces, because I was used to having 19 sewers. I used to get around 200 pieces being done a month, and I'm down to 3 sewers where, we just added a few more new ones, but there's a lot more training that goes into it. It's not just, having some random person coming in and knowing the way we work. So there's a lot that goes into it. So the main issue that we experienced the last few months was the fact that we're just missing a lot of our people. And silk top is a very detailed work. It's not just, it's not just regular ventilation. It goes through 3 layers, and not everyone has that skill to do that. A lot of companies, a lot of factories only work with North Korea, and North Korea completely shut their borders. So a lot of companies can't even make silk tops anymore. I'm luckily for my company, we only work with China. But again, I'm missing a lot of my sewers, so we're not even near the same speed as we were back before it hit there, which is before February, March. So yeah, things are just really slow, and we're just playing by ear. We're waiting for people to more of my sewers come back and things go back to normal. So that's just how it's slowing things down. So I told my clients who have custom orders out that they either can cancel or they can wait. Because unfortunately, it's out of my hands. I can't force people to work. I can't force people to rush more than it is, because, I always said I hate rushed work. I think everything needs detail, everything needs time. And, people say, I need it for my wedding. In 2 weeks, I need it. And I say, listen, I'm not going to give you something that's going to fall apart in a month from now. I want something that's going to hold up. You want something that's nice and beautiful and long lasting. So I'm very into, my sewers taking their time and working and making sure everything works well for the piece,
Right. So when the pieces come into the States, they're already done, or you still do some
almost nothing that we actually get is something that's coming from the bag and putting it on my website. They all go through some sort of color job, some sort of cut, some sort of thinning out. A lot of times we'll add some more hair to the hairlines. We'll definitely do some tweaking here. Everything gets washed a few times here to make sure that the hair is holding up. We want to make sure, and that's why I thankfully don't get many complaints, because I make sure that all the hair is up to par with, we have a lot of different people going through the hair before it actually gets to the consumer. So we make sure that everything there's a lot that goes on before the buyer gets their piece. It's not just, plop to, we do a lot of actual work here. So most of it is just doing custom colors and cuts, but if it's a custom order, we have to do measuring of the caps. We add a lace front, poly strips if it's a medical cap, medical wig. So yeah.
Okay. So what's something that we can do on our end before we come to your website to make our experience better? Should we find out the size of her head? Should we do a little research? Is there something that we can do before we come into your website?
Yeah. So the one question I think that wig sellers not dislike the most, but are, I don't know, it's hard to explain what we mean is what's the difference between a topper and a wig? Because that's just such a preliminary kind of question that it's so easy to just Google something like that. It's what's the difference between pants and a skirt? It's obviously for someone in the hair loss world, it's such a concept that about whatever. But I think it's for a customer, they can do some, of their own due diligence and do some research on what they want, what they need, As much as I would love to hold someone's hand as I used to explain every single detail of, what the difference is and all that stuff, there's unfortunately not enough time. And, I don't have enough time because hopefully eventually I'll, broaden my customer service base to answer all these beginner questions. But I think a lot of questions can be done by doing research online. I have a YouTube video, I have a YouTube channel that talks a lot about differences between certain, between hand tied and wefted, or between a topper and a wig. And I have an FAQ on my website that should be updating soon, because there's a lot more FAQs that I've gotten over the years. But yeah, I have a YouTube channel that's that has a lot of questions, especially on how to order a custom wig, or how to make, how to order a wig and how to order a topper, how to measure for density, for length, for cap size, how to choose the right color. Colors were probably one of the trickiest kind of things when it comes to ordering online. So I usually ask my clients to send me pictures of their hair, so they can help match it. But I always tell them also, it's never going to be 100% match. You just have to be something that you like, and as close as possible, you can tweak it. Anyway, the color fades after, wearing it over time. So yeah, I think I have a lot of resources online on my YouTube channel that they can look up. But again, we're happy to help. It's just there will be a lot less dialogue and a quicker response to getting what they want if there would be a little bit more research done on the buyer's part. But we're happy to answer this kind of questions. It just, that's it.
So on that note, what do you think is the number one mistake people make buying the first, or, buying a hairpiece?
I don't think any of them are mistakes. I think you learn what you want. I think most people misjudge length. That's probably one of my top reasons. For wigs, it doesn't really matter because your hair is getting tucked in. When it comes to a topper, though, people always misjudge, because a lot of times, which is why I started taking more pictures of myself, because the mannequins usually don't have a neck, and they have a very slim face. They're cute. They're little dolls. And a lot of people think a bob that on a human person would come up to their chin. On a mannequin, usually up to the shoulder. So they kind of just judge based on the mannequin, which is why a lot of times I like taking pictures on my actual self so people can get a better idea. But even on yourself, pieces can always be different, because someone has a wider head, or someone has a longer neck, or broader shoulders. They can always sit differently on someone's head. So I always tell people, just measure and add 2 inches, because that's the best way to know how long your hair is. I tell the people to measure from the part line down, and just add extra 2 inches to your hair, into the topper hair. That way you don't make that mistake. But somehow people still misjudge length. But that's probably the biggest mistake. I always tell people, go buy a little bit longer than you need, because then you have more to work with. You have more to work with cuts, different kind of styles, and unless they're willing to cut their hair. Some people aren't willing to cut their hair, but if they are willing to cut their hair, yeah. But that's pretty much, most people I feel are having an easy time finding what they need. Most people, if they follow my directions on my YouTube channel on how to measure properly, they shouldn't really run into so many issues. Some people have more problematic heads or hairlines but that's not their fault. It's just something that we need to figure out together on how to make. So it's not really them making mistakes. It's just more them needing the actual guidance. There's so many different types of hair loss. Some people have receding hairlines here, very receding here. They have nothing to clip into here, so that's where it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
We need to talk about it. Do we go for a full wig, or do you want to get a poly strip? You need to put something here. What are you going to do? So something like that. We need the dialogue, we need the guidance that I'm happy, or Dean is happy to assist with.
Right. So tell me about saying on Instagram. What made you just focus on Instagram? Is that because I've only dealt with you through Instagram and obviously your website, but why Instagram and not other platforms?
As opposed to what, Facebook? I am on Facebook too.
You are? Well, I know you have a group.
Honestly, my Instagram is just connected to my Facebook, so everything I put on my Instagram goes directly directed to that. But I don't know. I think Instagram is a really great platform to communicate, to show, customer reviews. And I made my Instagram all about customer reviews. I don't really post myself. I don't post anything else really. I just like having a beautiful hall of fame of smiling faces and beautiful hair. And I think it's really nice to
speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think I haven't really gotten into the whole influencers paid reviews kind of thing. So I really think that a lot of people want to see reviews from real life people, and once they had it, how long they've had it for, different kind of reviews. So I think I kind of like making my Instagram, and I've done that since the very start. Just faces of people, because I think it goes to show different styles, different colors, I just think seeing happy people is better than that's just my thing. But in general, Instagram, I think I was on Instagram with my page before the whole hair loss community even was around, so it was definitely grew like crazy. in the last, I would say maybe 3-4 years. I don't know
Yeah.
how long ago it started, but you know, every day I see like new followers like with hair loss accounts, and like they message me like, hey, this is your you know, this is your client Sandra. I made a new Instagram just for my hair loss. So I think every day there's like new accounts like popping up, you know, just for hair loss. So it's interesting to see how you know, how far it's gone. So yeah, I think Instagram's a great platform for that. But I am also on Facebook too. I think there's a lot of different Facebook groups and a lot of different, I don't really do the whole ads marketing kind of thing like that. I think Instagram is a great form of marketing for itself. And word of mouth. You know, I think I have a lot of clients who just find me from word of mouth. So
that's literally how I found you.
Oh yeah.
And how I heard about you. And really, like, everybody that I've talked to that has one of your pieces, like, I've never heard a complaint or anything. It's just, you know.
I think customer service is key.
Raving
I think
fans.
it's more, you know, obviously the quality has to be there. And I try my best to make everything up to par. I wouldn't want to wear or sell something that I wouldn't want to sell something that I wouldn't wear myself. So I think it's very important. And I think customer service is, you know, making sure people are happy. You know, if something goes wrong, we should fix it. There's always a fix to a problem. You know, I take pride in that. So you probably don't hear much negativity because I'm a fixer. I don't like, you know, letting things linger. I don't let people be upset because hair loss is hard as it is, you know, enough as it is, that people shouldn't have to spend close to $1,000 on my pieces. Some people spend over $1,000 on other pieces to only be upset or for something to only last, you know, a few months. Obviously, every piece has different kind of care instructions depending on the piece it is, but I think it's important to make people happy and keep people happy because you want returning customers. I have my clients who are still buying from me from like the last 6 years. I have my first customer that I met when I was in Florida. Actually, she bought 3 pieces. She's my very first customer on eBay, and it was nice meeting her. But like, return customers are important to me. People that, you know, are constantly happy, and you know, that's what I think is important. So customer service is always number one, along with quality.
Totally. And on that note, what do you think? Because I know, like you said, there is different care instructions for different pieces. But like, is there one product that we should get, or like one thing we should do? Because I get that question a lot too, is how do you take care of your piece? And I don't even know because, you know, I just started with all of this stuff.
To be honest, every company has different type of hair. They go through different processing. For my pieces specifically, I always say less is more. I don't like using, on my pieces, I don't use anything, really. I tell people if they want, they can put a little oil on the ends. But I think the more oil you use, the more hairspray you use, the more, you know, things you use, it's just causing more buildup. It's making it harder to brush, it's making it harder to break. And then you get more breakage, you get more split ends, you're going to need to cut it, it's more dry. I think less is more. A lot of people think that they need to put like these hairs through a crazy nourishment or like whatever. Once in a while, yeah, I like doing deep conditioner. I really like the Mika RX deep conditioner. I know I told some people to get the silicone mix on Amazon. It's a cheaper alternative, but it's kind of smelly. It kind of smells like a powder room, so some people don't like it. But I really like the Mika RX. I don't use it until like about 4 months in. But it also depends on the piece. You know, blondes go through a lot more processing, goes through a lot more bleach, and also, you know, my lighter browns, they go through a few, you know, cycles of bleach to get to that color and to make it the pretty color that it is. So the darker ones, they don't go through so much because they last a lot longer than the blonde ones, you know. But I have clients that come back to me after like a year, 2 years, 3 years even with their pieces, and you know, I'm like, wow, I'm actually surprised how well this held up. You know, less is more. I say shampoo, conditioner like regular, and do a deep conditioner once in a while whenever you feel like it needs it, but don't overload on like the masks and the oils, whatever. None of my pieces, at least, because I think the hair is the quality is everyone. I know we select the hairs that are going to hold up as best as possible. So, yeah.
What about styling? Is there like a temperature that you recommend, or does it matter?
I use the highest because I think the hair can handle it. Yeah, I use the highest for everything. I think the hair can handle it. And I think I personally am more low maintenance. I rather do one style and let it last for like, I mean, in the summertime they fall a lot quicker, but I'd rather make a tight curl, have, you know, the heat there, make it last for a while, and then only touch it up like 1 or 2 times more before I wash it. So I know some people are sometimes I get you know, messages from people saying, hey, I can't curl it like you curled it. Had you curl it? You know, I'm only using 150 degrees. I'm like, crank that up, you know, bring it all the way to 350, 400, whatever the highest temperature is on your, you know, on your iron. Like, don't be scared. I think the hotter it is, the tighter the curl is, the smoother it looks, it's nice, you know, the shinier it looks. So I personally like, I always use the highest when I style it for myself, when I style it for others, you know, to sell or whatever. So
I'm glad I asked you because I'm always so nervous.
I mean, listen, I'm talking about my pieces only. I don't know about what other companies do.
Well, that's what I'm wearing. Yeah.
I'm talking advice for just my pieces. I don't like talking about anybody else's. I don't know what they go through, or how they started off, whatever. So specifically for my company, I use the highest heat, and I think less is more when it comes to putting product on the actual hair. You know, you use a little hairspray if you want to keep the bang out of the face or whatever, but I don't even use that. I use a little bit of water, blow dry up, keeps the hair out of the face and whatever. So
cool.
Less is more.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about your cancellation policy because I think that's a big thing for everybody. I think 3 days is super fair enough. Probably
cancellation or return policy?
No, cancellation.
Okay.
I mean, return. Yeah, whatever. Sorry.
This is different.
Yes.
There is definitely for the cancellation.
Totally. Well, if you can tell me about both then, or, you know, if you have two, just so we also know what to expect.
I think it's a very controversial topic, a lot of these cancellation fees. I mean, the reason now, the return policies. I luckily had, not right now, but before COVID, I had enough stock that I was able to, if something doesn't work for somebody the first time around, they can always exchange it, unless they absolutely don't like it, or they found that something didn't work for them, or they wanted to explore other options, or, you know, they're not ready to go back into wigs yet. But otherwise, I think the exchange policy is a great way to, because I know some clients, you know, most of my customers who return are usually exchanging because they love it, but something's wrong. The color's off, color's too dark, they need a wig, they need a bigger cap, they need a smaller cap. You know, there's always something that goes that needs to be tweaked to like perfection, you know? So I like having the option. So I always had that option of exchange, and I still do, even with Corona times. You know, it's a little bit harder to exchange these days because I don't have as many options as I normally do. But usually if someone bought a 16-inch black one and they needed to go one shade lighter and a little bit longer, they would have that option to exchange, and they would be able to find it fairly quickly. But then I still have that return policy. I do 10%. I think that is quite fair, being that half of it goes to credit card fees that you don't get back, and the other half of it goes to, you know, I have to pay my employees. So when we get, you know, nobody wants to work for free. When we get a piece back, there's a lot that goes into it. First of all, some people tape the boxes really hard. That's one of the hardest things. Like when I tell, if Dina's going to watch this later, she's going to laugh at me because I hate processing returns because I hate opening those boxes. Some people like tape it up really well. You know, it takes like, you know, 5-10 minutes just to open these boxes. So yeah, you know, you're opening up a box, you're taking something out of the bag. You have to check, are all the clips intact? Did they do anything to the piece? Did they cut it in any way? Did they put some sort of coloring on the root? So there's a lot that goes into it. Did they change a part? There's a lot that goes into it we need to look into. That returns, I can have Adina sit here sometimes, even if it's only like 3 or 4, she can be sitting here for like 2 hours going through each one. They have to be washed. They have to be styled. There's a lot that goes into it. And again, this takes up time from our day, and nobody, as much as I would love to have it, you know, where I can just give out pieces for people to try. It's a lot of work that goes into it. Packaging, shipping. I know I offer free shipping within the U.S. It's also $12-15 out of pocket. So it's not really it's not really a profit. I don't want returns. You know, I prefer that people keep their pieces. Totally. But at the end of the day, there's a return policy is there so that, to be fair on both sides, you know, you're trying out a piece, you're seeing if it works for you. And I like having the exchange option for those who, you know, want to take advantage of that, so that they get a free exchange. I just charge shipping, so it's just $10 that we deduct from the store credit code. So we do that one-time free exchange per order. So they get, you know, if they have to return a second time, then we charge a restocking fee. But that's 2 orders that goes through all that. But again, I don't think charging more than 10% is necessary, for me at least, because whatever. But I think 10% is fair, especially when a little more than half of it goes to the fees and the shipping. Yeah.
Agreed. So speaking of shipping, are there any countries right now that you're not able to ship?
Because of COVID or in general?
In general, and the reason why I'm asking is because I recently started doing hair loss content in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people from Spain reach out to me and ask me about the piece, and they said that they have problems with taxes and all this stuff. And like, I have no knowledge about it. So I said, let
Mm-hmm.
me do a research and I'll get back to you. So I wanted to ask if you know anything about that, about, shipping to Europe
Yeah.
and
So I
what's the
ship to
deal.
Europe fine. There is custom duties just because, it's not something that I can control. This is like, if you're going to order from America or any country out of Europe, most countries have duties. Canada, UK,
Mm-hmm.
most countries, South America. America actually doesn't have, unless I think it's over like a certain amount. So I get returns or whatever. Usually there's no fees for us because we don't have that. I think it's over like $2,000, something like that. I
Right.
haven't really looked into it, but my pieces never go up to that price anyway. So I never had to worry about that. But the two countries that I can't ship to right now are Italy and Spain. I actually didn't know
Okay.
about Spain until recently, because they require some sort of all these like they need like a few different kind of certificates for hair.
Mm.
They want, since it's not Italian hair or it's not Spain hair, they want some sort of certification of the whole how it goes through all the processing and like something called fumigation. I don't really know. I haven't really gotten into it. I always said I would do it, but I never actually had the chance to get all those certifications. And I don't know, they're the only two countries that I've run into issues with. I shipped to Italy before, and I never, I never had problems until I did have a problem, and then I was kind of worried to have that problem again because it almost got lost on the way back, and like it was just, these pieces aren't cheap, obviously. So, and I shipped I don't ship to Spain so often, but I shipped a good handful of times in the past, and then the last two times also I had that issue where it came back in because they requested this kind of certification that I just never gotten into, or I never got. I tried Googling how to even get it, but I couldn't even, there was like nothing about it. So I have to like figure out what they actually need when I get a chance to. But right now I'm understaffed, so it's hard to get much done. So I'm going to try doing it when I get a split second, because I know I have a lot of clients in Spain and Italy that would love to take advantage. So I tell my clients in Spain and Italy, like, I ship to France. I don't know how far these places are, but I think maybe shipping within France to Italy or to whatever. I have clients in Switzerland. So Switzerland for some reason is fine, but Italy isn't. And they're not too far from each other. So I have some clients, ship to a friend or cousin in Switzerland, and they kind of bring it to them. And I extend my return policy for them to do that, if they need an extra 2 weeks to get it. So I'll kind of do that for them, because it's sad that they can't,
I know.
whatever. But yeah, it's something, I don't know. It's something I just have to look into. I never got into it before, so it's just something that. But yeah, those are the only two countries I'm really having issues with. There's issues with COVID now, shipping to countries on USPS, because a lot of countries close their borders with flights. So a lot of countries you can't fly into. Like, I know in the beginning, like, Canada closed their borders with flights from America or whatever. Like a month, I don't know if they still did it, but I had a lot of packages that took like a while to get because there were hardly any flights going in. A lot of them came back to me. Like, I've had a couple from India that came back to me, and so DHL and FedEx have their own planes. So I upgrade everyone still internationally to DHL, because they ship they take their own plane. They have their own like parcel planes, so those are getting there fine. A little longer than usual, but within a week usually.
Yeah, like everything. So what has been the most rewarding thing for you of having this business and growing this business?
I think just seeing people like smile, getting all these reviews. I don't really ask anybody for their reviews. On the paper I send out I send a little letter with my packages. I said, I just have like by the way, like PS, you're happy, if you're not camera shy, I'd love to see it on you. I'd love to post it on my Instagram. Feel free to send me a picture. But I don't ask anybody to send me anything. I don't, ask someone like, hey, send me a picture of it on you. Like, I just love seeing people's happiness, and like they go out of their way to send a picture. Like, I'm so happy, that's how it kind of started. I would never ask somebody to send me a picture of them. I know how personal hair loss is, and some people don't like their faces, and I have a lot of clients who don't send me pictures. I have a lot of clients who just send me emails saying, thank you so much. I don't want comfortable sending a picture yet. Hopefully I will in the future. I'm still a little camera shy or whatever. So it's really just about getting all these reviews and getting people's, it's like kind of seeing it in person. I had someone that came here today who had almost a full alopecia, and like I had my repair person put in a lace front for her and tighten it, put in like silicone by the ears, and she was just so happy. It's just like a nice experience seeing people just like walking in and then walking out with a big smile on their face. Yeah, I had a lot of people cry, happy tears, sad tears walking in and leaving with happy tears. So it's just very rewarding to make a change in people's lives. And some people aren't as sensitive, but I have some clients who are very, very sensitive when it comes to hair loss. So I think it's important to, be there for them, hold their hand in it. And I think again, it goes back to them having more of like a personal experience rather than just buying from a company, just buying from Highline Wigs or buying from, I think I like being able to hold someone's hand, which is why I kind of don't care much to grow my business so fast, so wide and big. I'm not looking to be a corporate company and have like locations all over the world. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm happy being a small business. I like working out of my house. That's what it is. I think I like being more personal. It saddens me when I have my Instagram and I have like hundreds of unread messages because I can't get to everyone. People probably think I'm ignoring them, but just that I just don't have enough hands or time in the day to get to all those messages. So it is what it is, but I'm trying my best.
Yeah, and we are so thankful. So on behalf of the hair loss community, thank you.
Of course.
Because we really,
thank you guys.
So thank you.
It gives me such joy and like, it really does. It makes me a better and happy person to help so many all over the world. Like seeing, like people, I have like some friends who are like, not in the hair loss community, and they follow my Instagram just to like see it and whatever. And they're like, wow, it's like really amazing. Like what, how far we've gone, like, across the ocean. It's just like, it is crazy. Cause like, I don't even know where so many people came from, like all over. It's just like, it's amazing that how big the hair loss community has, stretched, and like how everyone's very close knit community. It's beautiful. It really is.
Yes. Okay, with that, where can we find you? Because I know already, most of us are following you on Instagram, but is there anywhere else so we can get information? And for the people that are just meeting you today, where can they find you?
Pretty much on Instagram. You're going to see me most personal on Instagram because it's kind of like my page. I'm the only one who works on my page. You're not going to see any of my other assistants or anybody answering for my Instagram DMs. There's only going to be me. Email if you need to reach me for anything urgent. Not even urgent, but if you have any questions that you actually want an answer to in the normal pace, and email is the best way, highlinewigs@gmail.com, because Adina, my assistant, answers them every night. She's working from home currently, but hopefully she'll be back full time soon. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a Facebook page, but it just connected to my Instagram. So, and if anybody ever needs to reach us at Highline, email is always the best form of communication. But if you want to just, see what's doing on my page, when I'm adding new pieces, everything's done on Instagram. So Instagram's a good place for my business.
And you have a YouTube, you said, right?
Yeah, YouTube. I'm on YouTube, where I try making as many tutorials as I can. I have so many ideas that I wanted to post, but again, catching a good hour to do it, it's a little bit difficult right now. But I have, styling videos, how to change from combs to clips, how to, I still have to, washing, I didn't say that yet, and how to order online, differences between different kind of caps, medical caps, wefted, hand-tied, toppers, how to order, how to measure. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, how to color, how to avoid staining the silk top, because that's a little bit scary, that's also a big question I usually get, how to avoid the silk top to stain it. What do I tell my hairdresser? So I have a lot of all the kind of videos on my YouTube channel, so definitely check that out if you haven't seen it yet.
Well, yeah, now you know where to go. Thank you, Sharon, so much. Seriously, this is like, I'm so fangirling here. Like, yeah, I love it. So thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you for having me. It was really nice speaking with you.
Yeah, and thank you guys. I'll see you on the next interview.